So BookBounty just came out with a new feature where you can get book reviews in specific Amazon marketplaces. Until now, it was very hard to get reviews if you published in international marketplaces outside of the US, such as in Germany, France, Italy, and more. But with this new feature by BookBounty, it opens up a lot of new strategies that we can take. So in this video, I'll show you exactly how this works and how you can use it to sell more books. If you are new to the channel, my name is Sean. I've made over $1.7 million in royalties from publishing my own books. I've been doing this business for a very long time. And in this channel, I just share with you what I've learned in my own publishing business. So if you want no BS advice from someone who's actually doing it, then make sure to subscribe. So if you guys haven't heard of BookBounty, it's this website right here. It is essentially a membership site where you can get reviews very easily and fast. I talk about it many times on my channel. If you want to learn more about it, just go to the website because it kind of explains how it works. I'll leave a link in the description. But the way it works essentially is you pay a little bit of money to join the membership, and then you can start reviewing other people's books. By doing so, you can collect points, or they call it bounties over here, and you can use those bounties to request reviews for your own books. So it's like authors helping each other. Once you sign up, this is how it looks inside. Essentially, there are a lot of different books that people are asking reviews for. So you can click on it, download the book, start reading it, leave a review, and that'll give you points, which you can see here. You get 1,430 points here. Once you get those points, you can use those points to request a review for your own book. So this is how it looks if you try to request a review for your own book. And this is where the new feature comes in. So essentially, before this change, you couldn't specify exactly where you wanted the reviews. So as you can see here, it says accept reviews from any marketplace. This was the default of the setting. So basically, this was how it was before, right? So you couldn't control whether you're getting reviews in Amazon US, Amazon UK, Amazon Canada, Australia, Spain, anywhere, right? You basically had no control over that. But now you can specifically request where you want the reviews. So if my primary audience where I sell my books mainly is in Amazon.com, then, I obviously want reviews in Amazon.com, right? If most of my customers are in Amazon.com, then I wouldn't want reviews from Amazon France as an example. So that's why I can specifically say I only want reviews in Amazon.com. Now, let's say I got a German book and I want reviews in Amazon Germany specifically because that's where my audience is hanging out. Then I wouldn't want reviews in Amazon.com. I would want it in Germany. So I can select that, deselect.com, and basically just get reviews in Amazon Germany. So this is how you can easily control where you get the reviews, and you can start getting reviews in international marketplaces like this very easily now. So if you want to request reviews in specific marketplaces, you do have to pay a little bit of extra points. So that's just 300. It's not a lot. Or you can choose to upgrade to the Plus or the Pro plan. And this feature of choosing specific marketplaces will be free. Again, if you want to check out BookBounty, I'll leave a link in the description. The easiest way to learn how it works is just play around with this. So that's what I recommend. But here's the big question, right? How is this feature useful? How can it help us make more money? Well, this feature is actually very useful in my opinion because now we can tap into international markets much easier by publishing more translations, right? So when I say translations, I'm mainly talking about non-English books. You can either, translate your English books into different languages, or you can just straight up start writing, books in Spanish or German or different languages, skipping through the English book, if that makes sense. But either way, I'm basically talking about publishing books in different languages. And from my experience, the best markets to go into are Spanish, German, French, Italian, in that order. But people are making full-time income publishing just in the Spanish market, or just in the German market, or just in the French market, even Italian market, right? I know many people who are making full-time income, like good income, doing that. And I myself published a lot of translations. Many of those books, made hundreds of dollars a month, sometimes even thousands of dollars a month. In my top 5 best-selling books, in my current KDP account, I believe 1 or 2 of them are translations. So it is very profitable if you do it right. So the biggest problem here is that it used to be very hard to get reviews for these international markets, but now it's a lot easier. Just to reiterate the point more, Amazon is open not just in the US, it is open all over the world. So doing translations is one of the best ways to diversify your income. So why do we want to publish in international markets? Well, it's a lot less competition. Okay, I'm going to show you some examples here. It's pretty crazy. Now, it's still profitable, and you already have the book files. You already have the English versions. All you're doing is translating it, and you can create a whole new book that you can sell in different markets. So let me show you some examples of how much lower the competition is if you would go into different markets. So ketogenic diet, one of the most popular, saturated keyword in the US market. There are 30,000 results showing here, which means there are 30,000 books ranking for this keyword. So you're competing with 30,000 books essentially. But if I go to amazon.de, so Amazon Germany, and I basically type in ketogenic diet, this is the German version of ketogenic diet. I literally just went to Google Translate and translated ketogenic diet, right? Now we have 2,000 results. So we went from 30,000 to 2,000 results just by going into Amazon Germany. Now, yes, that means the competition is a lot less, but it doesn't mean anything if it's unprofitable, if no one in the German market is buying books on ketogenic diet, right? So we still got to go and check profitability. But if you look at what we're seeing here on page 1, as you can see here, we have keto diet. So pretty confident this is a keto diet book, making 65 euros a day in royalties. We have another one here, 4-star average, 25 euros a day. This book, 225 euros a day, 248 euros. So clearly you can see that it's profitable. And like this one right here, it only has 67 reviews, 42 euros a day, crushing it. So this also tells us that you don't need as much reviews because the competition is lower. And now you have a great way to get reviews easily in these international markets. Another example here, if I search for coloring book for adults in amazon.com, there are over 60,000 results. So you're competing with 60,000 books, which we all know this. Coloring book for adults is a very competitive keyword. But when I go to Amazon Germany, right, and I search for the German version of coloring book for adults, hopefully the translation is correct because I just used Google Translate. So the search results is around the same, 60,000 results, right? But if you look at page 1 here, the books that are making money like this one, 394 euros a day, is only 106 reviews. So in terms of review count, the competition is a lot less from what I'm seeing here. Like this one, 19 reviews doing 23 euros a day. We have 6 reviews here doing 34 euro a day. This one has 9 reviews, 77 euros a day. And this one has 0 reviews doing 5 euros a day, right? Or this one, 8 reviews, 34 euros a day. So my point being, in terms of reviews, competition is a lot less. And by the way, this whole strategy of translating, the biggest publishers in the whole world are all doing it. Like Coco Rio over here, we all know that they're like the biggest coloring book brand out there. They got a German version of their book, right? And they're crushing it, making hundreds of euros a day. And this is in the German market, amazon.de, right? And by the way, doing the translation strategy when you have low content, medium content books is crazy because you barely have nothing to translate inside because you don't have a lot of text. Like all they did is translate a couple of these texts, you know, inside the book, and the rest are all coloring pages, so they're barely doing nothing. It's basically the same book, you know, just with a German title, and they essentially have a whole new book that they can sell in different market, which you can do the same thing. So those were German examples. Let me show you some in Spanish. Okay, so when I look up relaxing word search for adults in amazon.com, we have 20,000 results, 20,000 books that we are competing in. But when I translate that exact keyword into Spanish, and then we search again, we have 261 results. And these are the books that are popping up on page 1, okay? This one right here, 3 reviews, making 77 bucks a day, 6,000 in the BSR, right? This book right here, 10 reviews, 25,000 BSR. This one over here, 2 reviews, 41,000 BSR, $16 in royalties a day. By the way, I'm using a tool called BookBeam that tells me how much the book is actually making in royalties. It's also in the description if you guys want to check it out. One thing I want to note here is that for Spanish books, I usually check it on amazon.com instead of amazon.mexico or amazon.spain. From my experience, I feel like there's more Spanish-speaking customers in the US or buying from amazon.com. That is why for Spanish books, I search it in the .com market. So as you can see, translating your books will significantly lower the competition, while for many keywords, it's still very profitable. So the next question you might have is, all right, cool. I can see that it's profitable, but how do you actually translate your books? How can I translate my books? Well, I'm going to film a separate video on a step-by-step guide on how to do this. It's coming up very soon. But basically, this is how you do it. And this is pretty simple, so I'm sure you can figure it out after this. But essentially, you take your book file, which I'm talking about the book interior, the book title, the description, the 7 backend keywords, pretty much all the text that you have, and then you hire a translator and have them translate it into whatever language you want. Or if you don't want to pay for a translator, AI is getting pretty good nowadays, right? So you can use AI to translate, but I still do recommend, I highly recommend you hire a native speaker for at least a proofreading and editing. But you're not paying them for translating, you're just paying them to read through and checking, if there's any mistakes and whatnot. So you're paying them less. But you still should have someone, a native speaker, go through it. Don't trust AI 100%. That's what I always recommend. Because at the end of the day, quality of the book is super important. If the translation is bad and you're just knowingly pumping out bad translated books, it's going to risk your account. So don't do that. So for coloring books or others with very little text, it is so easy to translate. You're just translating the title, description, 7 backend keywords, and maybe a little bit of text inside the interior, and that is it, right? So it's crazy. And then once you have the new title, you essentially recreate the book cover with the new translated title. So you're just swapping out the book title with the translated title. The design and everything can stay exactly the same. And once again, guys, a lot of people are doing this. This is a English version of this book, $100 a day in royalty, right? And this is a Spanish version of the same one, $49 in royalty. So just by translating it into Spanish, this person is making an extra $1,500 a month just from the audiobook version. So you can also do audiobooks, right, with translations, which we'll talk about maybe in another video. But you can see that the design is exactly the same. So you're just essentially updating the text. If you need recommendations on translators or proofreaders, I'll leave a link to the ones that I've worked with or I've found on Fiverr that looks good in the description. Because based on my research, there are a lot of people who overcharge for this and it can get pretty expensive pretty quick. So these are the ones that has the highest reviews, but also very affordable. I think the balance of quality versus how much they're charging is really good for these ones. So you can choose to use them or not. It's up to you, but it's in the description. So this is for the Spanish translation. It's going to be about $300 for 30K words. So I think that is a pretty fair price for translation. This is for Spanish proofreading and minor edits. So again, the link is in the description. This is for German translations. This one from the same person does German proofreading as well. And this person does French translation. So again, all of these are in the description. I think they're the best options on Fiverr. Once again, I just want to show you what Kokoryo is doing. This is the English version, okay? Making a lot of money. And this is the German version. Pretty much just changing the title out. The design of the book cover and everything looks exactly the same and making a lot of money from it. If you're doing high content books and you have a lot more text, then yes, maybe you have to pay a little bit more for translations or proofreading. But I personally can tell you from my own experience, if you have a good book in the English market that's selling well, and if you validated your keyword in the international market and it looks good, then I think it's worth it to translate it, at least give it a shot. In terms of uploading the book, the process is exactly the same. You just go to KDP, upload it. However, there's one thing you got to keep in mind is on the first step, right, when you're uploading, you have to choose the language. So just make sure to choose the correct language for the book. And at the step 3 section right here, the pricing page, basically you want to choose the primary marketplace. This is what I recommend, okay? If you do Spanish, then I recommend choosing the primary marketplace as .com, again, for the reason I mentioned earlier. But if you do it in German, then .de for the German Amazon, French for .fr for Amazon France, .it for Italian, and so on and so forth. In terms of marketing, getting reviews is the first step, right? And like how we talked about this entire video, I recommend you use BookBounty and just request for specific markets. So for Spanish books, again, get reviews in either .com, you can test out .es or Mexico, but I recommend .com is probably good. German books, .de, French books, .fr, Italian books, .it. So that is what I recommend. And when it comes to marketing, the translations, it's the same process. Once again, you run ads or can do social media marketing. But when you're running Amazon ads, it's the same market that you're targeting. For Spanish books, .com, ES, or Mexico, right? German books, .de, French, .fr, Italian, .it. In terms of making sure if your keyword is profitable, if you translate it, again, all you do is you go to Google Translate, take your main keyword, translate it into different languages, and check in those international markets, right? So as an example, we have this keyword, emotional intelligence, one of the most saturated keyword in the US market, 50,000 results in Amazon.com. But when I translate this to Spanish and check it, then it's 10,000 results, so significantly lower. A lot of books on the topic like this one, crushing it, making $3,000, $4,000 a month. Now, when I take this to German, Amazon Germany, right, we have 5,000 results, and same thing, we got books that are doing $1,000 a month. If we take this to Amazon France, now we got 4,000 search results. And again, same thing, like this book is doing $1,000 a month, same as this one. And finally, if we take this to Amazon Italy, then it literally got 500 results, which is pretty crazy. And this book right here is doing not thousands, but $23 a day, which I think is still pretty good. So this is a very cool new feature from BookBounty. I think it's a great update. It opens up a huge opportunity going into these international markets. I personally made a lot of money with it. Now you know how, and now you can go into it a lot easier with this. So once again, if you guys want to check out BookBounty, the link is in the description, as well as all the tools and resources that I mentioned in this video, also in the description below. And if you're serious about taking your Amazon KDP business to the next level, I do have a complete Amazon KDP mentorship program. It is the first link in the description. You can go to the website, learn how it works, apply for a free strategy call, and you can go from there. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, subscribe, comment any questions you have. I try to answer comments within the first couple hours of posting the video. And with that being said, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.